Hello, Central Texas Scouters. I'm Joe Wilding. I'm a member of the Capital Area Council like you are, and I sit on a special task force that is working to help make the 2020 recharter season go smoother than ever. There are several things that we would like to encourage you to do in August in preparation for recharter that will be coming up this fall. The first is to look at your unit leadership and select, probably from your unit committee, a person who will be the unit recharter leader. Now, for some of you, that might be the committee chairman. It might be another committee member who is responsible for membership, etc. But choose someone who is willing to lead the charge for your unit in organizing and completing your unit recharter. Sometimes we call that person the URL for short, but we ask you to identify that person this month. Another thing you can do at this point that will help make recharter go smoother is to look at youth protection training for the adults in your unit. Many people took youth protection training in 2018 when the new youth protection training was mandatory. And for those people, their youth protection training may be running out this month. So we encourage you to look at youth protection training in my.scouting.org. And another thing to look at early in this month of August is to take a look at your roster and determine those who will be continuing with your scouting unit going into 2021. That way, when it's time to start the recharter process, you'll already know those who are planning to continue with your unit in 2021. Now, let's take a look at the 2020 Charter Renewal Plan.
This is the 2020 Charter Renewal Plan. We'll just go through this so that you're familiar with it. We've decided that every month we will provide a video that provides encouragement as well as some tips on things to focus on. And this is the first video, the one for the month of August. For the month of August, we are really encouraging you to identify a unit charter leader. A unit recharter leader is someone that will take the lead for your unit in doing the recharter work this year. And then we would ask you to provide that to the council. There will be a link in an email you receive this month that will allow you to record who the unit charter leader is and their contact information for us so that we can provide information from the council directly to the unit recharter leader each month. We also ask that you take a look at your membership. There may be some people in your unit some youth who have moved on to another unit because they've grown older, like perhaps a Cub Scout has crossed over to a troop, or there may be youth that have moved on to older youth programs like into a venturing crew or a ship, or you may have adults who have moved out of the area, their families moved, or for one reason or another, they're no longer going to be part of your unit in 2021. You want to identify those people so that you're not trying to chase them down to get their updated registration and registration dues this recharter season, but only focus on the ones who will be with you. And it's also important right now because in 2018, everyone had to take the new youth protection training. It's important now to look at the current status of everyone, all the adults in your unit for their YPT, because many of them will have been expiring this month. So if we can get that taken care of now before we really get into recharter, then it will help the recharter process go much easier. In the month of September, we'll provide another video with encouragement and things to focus on. September is a month typically where we have lots of joint scouting events going on, and so you'll want to make sure that anyone who is new in your unit, either youth or adult, that you get those applications submitted to the council so they can be registered and will show up as you start the recharter process in October. This will be a good time to make sure that all those you identified whose youth protection training had expired, that they get that done by September so that that's complete with everyone in your unit. Also, September is typically the time where districts will offer recharter training. We will also provide a link from the council to a training video on how to do the online recharter system. September is also the time frame where your recharter codes will be distributed. So every unit has a recharter code. You need to use that recharter code in order to get into the online recharter system, and those will come out in the last 2 weeks of September. All right, October is key time. October 1st is when the portal opens for online recharter, and we would ask that every unit in that first week of October go in, either the unit recharter leader or one of the key three go in with the unit recharter code and log in, because that way you'll know if there is any problem, we can get it resolved immediately. There have been a few in the past where somebody goes in and the unit recharter code does not work. So if there is a problem, we want to make sure we identify that as quickly as possible so that we can get you in and working on the recharter. This is a time frame where your unit commissioner should be contacting you to offer assistance. And if you do need assistance once you've gone in, unit commissioner is the perfect place to go to get help on working with a recharter. You can start working on recharter, and if you've got all of your information already collected and you've already collected the registration fees from those who are planning to continue on, then you can jump right in and you could actually complete your recharter in that first couple of weeks of October. We know some units do their fees a little bit differently, etc., but you can get started, and we would ask everyone to get started in October. The council this year will be providing immediate feedback as your recharter packets are submitted. Marisol at the council office will be reviewing those, and we'll send an email as soon as she has reviewed them, indicating either the packet's been received and everything is okay, or your packet has been received and there are these problems outstanding. That way you'll know within 1 week of submitting exactly the status of your recharter packet. Moving on to November, we know this is when most units will complete all of their recharter work. Key date there is November 30th. That is the deadline to have recharter packets turned into the council office. That's a Monday following Thanksgiving. So we encourage every unit to focus on that and get those recharter packets worked on so that they can be turned in on time. Your districts will be offering help at this time. We found it very helpful for units to review the recharter packet with their unit commissioner before submitting it to the council. That helps. They've been experienced at looking at recharter packets, and they can help you spot any errors that you might have or help you identify what you have left to do. I encourage you to do that early in this recharter season and not wait till the last week for your unit commissioner to review it. Again, as packets are turned in, Marisol will send an email back to whoever is identified as the unit recharter leader on that pack as it came in. That email is provided. They'll get that feedback immediately as to the status of it. December. Ideally, everybody's packet would be turned in by November, and December would be used simply for working out any last-minute errors in those recharter packets. But we really would hope everyone gets their packets turned in and is reviewed by a unit commissioner, so that as they go in, that they are as error-free as possible, and that the recharter process will just flow on through. During the month of December, if there are some errors that you still can't resolve, if there are people who you just can't get chased down to get an application signed or completed or to get their registration fees, we'd encourage you to consider dropping that person from the unit in the recharter packet. If you do, then subsequently, after turning in your recharter packet, if you do get the fees collected or the registration signed, then you can just turn them in individually down at the council office, and they will be processed through and will be part of your unit, even though they were not included in the recharter packet you turned in. key date to remember here is December 31st. Those units that are not rechartered by December 31st, starting in January, will have limited access to council services. So it's really key that we get everything resolved in December so that that doesn't happen to your unit. Units that are in that position will not be able to turn in advance report to the council office, purchase awards, schedule or use council properties, etc., because they will not at that point not be registered. And then the month of January, we really hope there aren't any units in this position, but we will be working very, very hard, and the district commissioners will be working very hard to help resolve any outstanding units. But the last key date there is January 31st. On January, that's the last date that units that have unresolved recharter problems will be officially dropped from BSA's roster. And then after that, in order to recharter, a unit will have to submit a whole new charter application with all new applications for adults. And so it is absolutely imperative that no unit go beyond January 31st with that recharter process. That's why it's really important that every unit work to make sure that November 30th is the day that we hit, so that we can get any problems resolved quickly after that, so that your unit is fully functioning and fully supported by BSA. Thank you.
That's it for this segment of the Recharter News. We encourage you to look for another segment coming up next month, and also if you have questions or need assistance, look to your unit commissioner or your district commissioner.